Greetings, Patriots. We are going to review adding and subtracting integers. Our objective is I will add and subtract integers. Let's go ahead and go back and remember what we know about a zero pair. So remember, if I have a positive value, right, and I have a negative value, that forms a zero pair. So if I have $1 and I give you $1, right, then I have no money. So 1 minus 1 equals 0. And that cancels each other out. So let's say we had the following, -4 plus 7, right? So as you can see, I have 4 negatives right here, 4 negatives, and I had 7 positives. Well, for every negative and every positive, that forms a zero pair. So that leaves me with a +3. I can also show you the same idea on a number line. If I start at -5, so here I am at -5, and I add 11, then that means I'm moving to the right, right? Because I have a +11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And my answer would end up at +6. So once again, because I had a -5 and +11, I could have formed 5 zero pairs, and that would have left me with a +6. Okay, so let's try to remember this. Whenever I am dealing with the same sign, same integers, if they're two positives, what mathematical operation am I going to do? I'm going to add, and I am going to keep that sign. If I have two negatives, a -1 minus a 7, well, I'm going to add those two values and keep the same sign. My answer would be negative. Remember, if I have different signs, right? If I have a positive and a negative, because I'm having to form those zero pairs, in essence, I'm really just subtracting. Now, with these, I am definitely going to keep, right? So again, a +1 and a -1 leaves me with that zero pair. Over here, I have a +1 and a +1, so that would actually equal a +2. A -1 and a -1, they're the same sign, so I'm going to add those, and that would actually give me a -2. So just kind of remembering what's happening with our positive and negative values. Let's practice a few. So in your guided notes, just to help you remember, whenever I'm dealing with the same sign, the same integer, what operation am I doing? I am adding the two, and I'm keeping the sign. If they're negative, my final sum is gonna be negative. If they're positive, my final sum is gonna be positive. If I have opposite integers, then it really, because they're opposite signs, and I know that a positive and a negative form a zero pair, I'm in essence going to be subtracting those two values, and I'm going to be keeping the sign of the integer that is farthest from 0. We don't pick the bigger one, we keep the one that has the largest absolute value, farthest from 0. Whenever you see something that looks like this, okay, really, that's a negative times a negative, or I'm adding the opposite of what's there. So this forms a positive integer. And we will review that. So let's go ahead and look at, I always like to identify what I have. If I look at this expression right here, I know that that gives me a +3. All right, and if I look at this value here, I know that that is a +5. So because I have the same sign, right, I have a +3 and I have a +5, no zero pairs are going to be formed here. So therefore, my final answer is going to be a +8. All I need to do is add these two and keep the sign. Let's go ahead and look at the next value. When I look at this, I have a positive 3, right? That's a positive. When I look at this value right here, that's a negative. So because I have different signs, right? That tells me because they're different, I am going to subtract these. But let me show you in a visual how that looks. So I have a positive 3, right? And I have a negative 5. And because I know a positive and a negative form a 0 pair, for every positive and every negative, that forms 0. Another positive, another negative, another 0. Another positive, another negative, right? Another 0 pair. That's going to leave me with a negative 2. So, which one of these numbers is farthest from 0? I'm going to say that again. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. And here I have a positive 3. So 3 is 3 spaces from 0. Negative 5 is 5 spaces from 0. This is why we say subtract and keep the sign of the number that's farthest from 0. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and try one more together. Now I can see quickly that this is a negative 3 and that 8 is a positive. And once again, because they are opposite integers, right? I have a positive and a negative. That tells me I'm going to subtract because I can form some 0 pairs. So let me draw my negative 3. There's my negatives. And let me draw my positive 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can I form a 0 pair? Yes, I can. Right here, this gives me 0. This gives me another 0. I can form 3 0 pairs. And what does that leave me with? It leaves me with an answer of positive 5. Again, who's farther from 0? 8 is much farther from 0 on the number line than negative 3. And that's why I keep the positive sign. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at this value. So I get, again, when I look at the first integer, I know it's negative. When I look at the second integer, I know it's negative. So this is one of those that I have the same sign, and that tells me I'm not going to have any 0 pairs to form. So therefore, I'm only going to have to add. So I literally have negative 3 and another negative 3. No 0 pairs can be formed, and that leaves me a negative 6. Let's look at the next value. I have a positive 3 to begin with. This value right here is positive. And then remember, if you go back to your guided notes, whenever we see that, add the opposite there, negative times a negative, that's really a positive 3. So therefore, that leaves me with, right, same sign. What am I going to do? I am going to add those two. And that's going to give me a positive 6. This is a really good one to look at your number line. All right. So here's 0, and here's 1, and here's 2, and here's 3. All right. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Sorry. All right. So I start off with, 3. And I know that this says add the opposite of a negative 3, which is really a positive 3. So I'm going to move to the right, okay? And I'm adding. Hopefully this is reviewing for you and helping you remember. All right, last problem that I'm going to work out. Again, I have a positive 3 there. And again, I have a negative 3. So these are opposite signs, right? They're different, they're opposite. So therefore, I know I'm going to have to subtract. So I have a positive 3, and I have a negative 3, and what do you know? I get 3 0 pairs, so that leaves me with the answer of 0. Okay, so you will have an opportunity to practice using your notes and working on some problems today in class just to refresh your memory of adding and subtracting of integers. Have a great day.